Okay guys, so in this video we will do something really exciting. In this video and in the next 4 or 5 videos, we will go through specific steps to create a new geodatabase and a new feature class that will represent some intersections in the streets of Atlanta City in Georgia. What we will do with these intersections is we're gonna enable the domains, and we will see in a minute what is domains. We will enable global IDs, we will enable tracking, we will enable attachment, we will upload this data to our ArcGIS Online and create a web map, and we will see how we can connect to this web map using ArcGIS Collector and add data on ArcGIS Collector. So let's first start by going to ArcCatalog to our course data folder and create a new folder called Atlanta. Inside this folder we will create a new file geodatabase. We will call it Atlanta GDB, and before we create our feature class, which is intersection, we will right click on Atlanta here and say properties, and as you remember we have the tab called domains. So basically domains is a way to make a predefined values for your entry. What that means is if you have a field in your attribute table that must contain a certain range of values. So for example, in the intersections, we have different intersections type. So the 4 types we have for intersection is a 4-way intersection, a T intersection, a Y intersection, and a circle. So let's say, for example, this is the only 4 types of intersections. So it doesn't make sense that I create a field of intersection type and I leave it open to anyone to enter any data. I want to restrict my data entry users to enter one of these 4 values. So in order to do that, we need to create a domain. So let me show you how that will work. So here I'm going to create a new domain called name intersection type, and here the description will be types of intersections, and in the domain properties I will choose the field type to be short integer and the range to be coded values. What that will do is I'm going to create a code for each type. So here I'm going to create the coded values. I will say 1, and this type is 4-way. Here 2, this type is T intersection. 3 will be Y intersection, and 4 is circle. So now when I create any new feature classes inside my geodatabase and I define one field to use this domain, any value inside this field cannot be anything other than this 4 options. So let's see how that will work. So let's say OK, and now open our geodatabase, right click, create a new feature class. Let's call it intersections, give alias the same. It's gonna be a point feature. I'll go next, choose our coordinate system, next, and here in the fields we will enter the first field will be intersection type, and here it will be type short integer. And as you see, once I chose short integer, now I have the domain option enabled for me here, so I can select which domain I want to use. So now when I finish, this field type cannot have any values other than the 4 values we have: circle, T, Y, and 4-way intersections. And this way I was able to restrict the data entry users or the collector users to enter the type of this intersection based on my domain, and they cannot enter any other values. And this is a really good way and very important way to restrict the data entry for certain values. So let's enter quickly the other fields we need. We need the street, and I think we are good now with this fields, and we will finish. So now let's see how this domain types will work for this feature class on ArcMap. So let's open ArcMap and add our base layer. Let's choose OpenStreetMap and let's zoom to Atlanta in Georgia. Now let's add our intersections feature class, and we enable editing, and we go to create features. We select this one and we enter one intersection right here. If you open the attributes for this one to change the attributes, you will see that the type here is null right now, but when I try to change it, I cannot type anything other than the 4 options we predefined in the domain. So again, the domain will help you restrict the data entry for any field, and this is a really good way to make sure that your field values is matching a very specific values that you predefined, so no one else can enter any other values other than the domain values for this intersections. So here, for example, let's say I will do T intersection, and I'm not gonna do anything here other than that. I'm gonna come to save my edits and stop the editing and save this MXD and close the entire MXD. So now you know that anytime you work on a new data or a new geodatabase, you need to come to the geodatabase, right click on it, open the properties, and check the domain values, so you know that the domain values is set up on the geodatabase level. And anytime you open a feature class, you see a domain name, you know where this domain is set up and what is the values inside this domain. And you can also change it from here. In the next video, we will see how can we enable the global ID for the same feature class. So we'll see you in the next video. Thanks.